and his wife, Ina Vasilovich, for our interview. We're going to talk about JTH Paintings and Remodeling, LLC. We're going to talk the market. We're going to talk what's going on, how to find the next Amazon, even whether you should be looking for the next Amazon.
You don't want to do that.
Well, I think we're going to change the question up. We always get asked, how do I find the next Amazon? I think we're going to change it up to, should you be even looking for the next Amazon, or should you be doing something else with your time? I just need to point out that Xavier is making a great sacrifice being here today.
That's right.
He wanted to be home watching Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Exactly. I woke up early to do that. Then all of a sudden I remembered, today,
but the show must go on.
The show must go on.
And he loves you all so much that he said, I am going to sacrifice Zack Snyder's Justice League at 10 in the morning just to show my appreciation for the viewers of Today Mañana.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that you forced me here? It has nothing to do with it?
I was trying to be generous. To you. Oh, Jerry, we already have a comment. Jerry Miller loves the finance stock market talk, and our show is legit. Don't worry, we'll get to your question, Jerry. We will absolutely get to it today. It's going to be a lot of finance today, because a lot's going on in the markets, on the investment side. People just really thinking post-pandemic about their savings, where they want to be financially. There's a lot of demand for financial plans at Emergent.
Welcome to the roller coaster rides.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think Jonathan is here.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier.
Xavier.
As always, we are here. Thanks for joining us this morning. Make sure you share everything. Make sure you comment today. We're gonna be talking a lot of finance. So ask us the questions. Ask us the comment. Tell us the comments. Tell us what you think as we talk. I'm gonna say some keywords. Xavier's gonna start going off on something, on some finance topic. But if you don't like what Xavier says on this show, just
don't say anything.
No. I was going to say, let us know. And Xavier's saying, don't say anything. And then at 10:40, we're going to be joined by Jonathan Hernandez Toscano from JTH Paintings and Remodeling. He's the CEO. He's going to be a great interview. I think he's a little bit like Fernando Dare, that I call him a serial entrepreneur. Because every time I talk to Jonathan, he always has new things that he's into and new businesses that he's exploring. He's a guy with a great mind for business. So he's going to join us at 10:40 today. But first, we have so much. I was saying in the previous, when we were, and the mics were live before we were live, just that, we're making a great sacrifice here today.
Well, yeah, some of us are.
So, some of us are.
Doesn't seem like you felt that
He's
way.
missing Zack Snyder's Justice League to be with you all today. To be on Today
You think everybody
Mañana.
knows about Zack Snyder's Justice League?
If they don't before, they do now.
They do now,
We've
right.
just mentioned they're going to be looking up. What is
Streaming
Xavier
today.
missing to be on the show today? As always, we are presented by Emergent Financial Services. As always, we are powered by Cristel Noel, State Farm. And as always, we are partnering with Forward Adelante here on the I Love Seville network. All right, so Xavier, what do we have today? Because I know I was talking with Jerry on Tuesday.
Oh, you said you had a question from Jerry, right?
We have a question from Jerry.
Already?
Let's start with that, because you know what? I think that's
I
going
don't
to be
think we should
interesting.
really
That'll
take
lead
questions
in.
from Jerry, though. Is that fair?
Jerry has tough questions.
That's what I mean.
That's why you don't want to tackle this. So Jerry is asking us, why are rising rates impacting the Nasdaq? So that's the technology, biotechnology indexes. It's an index of a lot of tech stocks, basically. Why are rising rates impacting the Nasdaq more than the other indices?
Well, it's a multifaceted question, right? The answer is not just simple, but without before going into a lot of detail, yesterday obviously the Fed met, and I think everybody expected Powell, right, the Fed chair, to say something, and he said things, but he didn't basically act, right? And we were talking about this a little bit before about high interest rates and what's causing them. Right? And of course, how does it impact the rest of the markets? And we were talking about, what is really causing, these interest rates to go up right now. And without any doubt, I think what the fear is that inflation is beginning to, well, not beginning, it is here already. And how far is it going to go up? And really, there's two reasons why inflation is even a question these days, right? One is oil prices have gone up, right? I mean, the minute that, and again, I just want to make sure that people understand, this is not a political, thought process.
It's just
right?
a cause and effect. I mean,
exactly.
if you make the
So
decision
the minute that
to
you
withdraw.
shut down oil production in any country, what does that mean? Right? It means that prices of that particular material, right, or commodity is going to go up. So we shut down oil production here in the United States.
We've made it clear
prices go up.
the U.S. doesn't want to be as much of a player, so that's what happens.
So that forces oil prices to go up. And you say to yourself, we're in an economy, and is this economy a booming economy? Because booming economies is what causes inflation most of the time, right? Are we in a booming economy? Well, no. I don't think so. I think nobody here would ever say that we are in a booming economy. I mean, I think the economy is at, 60, 70% capacity right now? We have a long way to go. So what's causing that inflation? One, the fear, because oil prices have gone up, right? And two, when you look at production, right? So, for example, I mean, the housing has just gone on fire. Why has it gone on fire? Because interest rates were so low, and everybody was either refinancing or buying or purchasing homes, right? You look at places like cities like New York City, people that lived or rented in apartments want to get out of their apartment and move into, and want to move into homes, right? So that makes it a lot, they want to move into homes because they realize I can work out of my house. I don't need to go back and forth to the office anymore. So therefore, we need to build more homes. So there's materials.
Yep.
Materials are in
anytime you want more of something, price of it goes up.
Prices go up. So they're in demand. The fact that the supply isn't there, and why isn't there? Because we're not running at full production. Everything we're doing is not at full production yet. So if the demand is there, but the production is not there, prices go up, right? And that's what I mean. Is that temporary? Hard to say. Why are interest rates a key problem? They're not necessarily a major problem. Certainly it's going to slow down. Mortgage rates are going up. That's going to slow down. As you can see, housing starts already went down last month. Permits went down last month. So in essence, that's already beginning to slow down. And part of it is because interest rates are going up. Why does it impact the Nasdaq anymore? Because small companies are the ones that need to borrow the most. And they're in that position where they can't afford much as far as interest payments are concerned because they're trying to build a business. So therefore,
So in other words, a lot harder for a tech company in the Nasdaq to get really low interest rates than like a Johnson & Johnson or a massive company that's been around for ages.
Remember, and so when you think about interest rates and you think of borrowing costs, they rate companies. So, for example, a company like Johnson & Johnson, a company like Exxon, a company like Apple, right? They're rated at the top rank. That means that the expectation of them being able to pay back their loans is very high. In such that, because of that, you're willing to lend them at a lower interest rate. Small companies, you don't know whether they're going to be able to survive, so you charge them a higher interest rate. So the more interest rates go up, the more they have to pay, the more difficult it is for them to build their business. Right? So that's the issue. Now, the other thing we have to think about or talk about is something that you and I think about all the time, which is sectors, right? And there's this thing called rotation. Rotation means moving out of one particular area of the market into another, right? And the biggest rotation that we're seeing today is going out of growth stocks, meaning stocks.
Nasdaq tech is growth.
Those are growth stocks, meaning that they have the ability to move high very quickly and for a longer period of time, right? Into value stocks. Value stocks are stocks that have already grown, and they're not going to grow much more, but they're solid companies that are going to be able to provide you a high dividend, continue to go up a little bit with the market, but they're not going to be booming companies, booming equity valuations either. So we're seeing that. I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, I think growth has gone up about 20% per year, and values up about 13% per year. Complete turnaround this year. I mean, growth is, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but
there was a point at which it was flat
yes,
down for the year.
No, exactly. I mean, it depends. Again, like tech companies. I mean, you look at, here's a perfect example. We were talking about this a little bit the other day too, as far as do I look for one stock to buy, like Amazon? I mean, I think you mentioned this on Jerry's show,
the Amazon
right?
story is just crazy. So
It's amazing, right? So if you bought $10,000,
you bought $10,000 of Amazon in 1997. That's worth more than $12 million today.
That's amazing.
So it's like a 120,000% return.
And remember, and that includes going down in the 2008 fiasco, right? In the Great Recession. You look at Amazon. Amazon's stock price was like 40, right, back then.
Oh, you had to hold through some tough times. I mean, you're talking, I think, from 99 to 2001. Amazon fell 94%.
94%.
So
You
imagine
would think
if
it was
bail,
over.
Yeah, you would think it's finished.
Yeah.
I'm bailing. I lost 90%. I lost my shirt on Amazon.
Exactly.
I'm done.
Exactly.
I'm finished. And then it comes back and it's up 120,000%.
And who knows how many people sold Amazon during that time? It's going down 30, 40, 50%. You say, I got to get out of the stock. It's no good, right? So you lost the ride all the way up. Same thing with Apple. You look at Apple. I mean, in 2008, Apple was worth like $3 to the beginning of 2009. $3, right? It's up enormously. That's another one of those stocks where, if you put $10,000 back then, right now you'd be also a millionaire, right? So the issue is, are you going to be able to find those stocks? Can you find it and hold on to it? It's tough, right? It's tough because back then, did you buy Amazon or were you buying some others, right? Did you buy?
I always use the Facebook, MySpace.
Exactly.
Did you buy
MySpace,
Facebook or did you buy MySpace?
Exactly.
Because you had two choices, and one of them is much better than the other right now.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about ETFs, right, which are exchange-traded funds, which are very similar to mutual funds in the sense that it's a group of stocks that go into a fund. And so you have the ability to buy those group of funds. The difference between an ETF and a mutual fund is a mutual fund gets priced at the end of the day. So when you buy a mutual fund, they wait till the end of the day, they price it, and you buy it.
That's what you pay.
The ETF almost trades like a stock. You buy it any time during the day, right? So back in 1997, for example, there were just a handful of ETFs. I think the first ETF came out like around 1993, and it tracked the S&P 500, right?
Very simple.
The world has changed dramatically. And what do I mean by that? So in other words, if you're interested in, for example, if you believe in clean energy, right, you can buy an ETF that focuses just on clean energy. And one example was the iClean, right?
iClean, yep.
Which, last year it was up like 140%. Right? If you look at things, there you had things like Plug, which was over 100%. You had things like a windmill company, a solar company. So you had a lot of companies, and I think there's only about 30, 40 stocks in there, right? You had a lot of companies that did extremely well. Now, if you have a situation where you have a fund that goes up 140%, and this year it's down 20%, you're still doing pretty well, right? But again, we're beginning to rotate out of those into areas where people say, well, if the economy comes back, what sectors do I want to be in, right? You look at another ETF is Jets, right, which focuses on airlines. That thing's up like 40% this year, right? The retail, another ETF that focuses on just retail, it's up 40% this year. So we're seeing the rotation out of growth into value. And if you look at history, over the last 20 years, growth and value basically have the same return, about 8 or 9% over a 20-year period, per annum, right? But if you look at periods in time, they're completely different.
They're always going to go back and forth.
So you have to think about this. So it's what I always tell people. It's like you can't just focus on one sector of the market and say, I want the next Amazon, I want the next Apple, I'm going to invest in Plug, and that's that. No, you have to think about, why am I investing? And if you're investing for the long term, you need to diversify that portfolio. What does that mean? That means that you need to invest in some value, you need to invest in some growth.
You need to have everything. And you know what, I always talk about it this way, like what you're adjusting is not what's in your portfolio, what you're adjusting is the percentages.
Exactly.
That you have in
I
your
was going to
portfolio.
go with it. Perfect.
So you never sit there and say, I want my portfolio to be growth, or I want my portfolio to be value, or I want my portfolio to be clean energy, or you say, I want my portfolio to be all of the above. What are the percentages that I'm going to change? So and it doesn't mean you can't make strategic decisions based on what you believe. You say, okay, I think clean energy is going to do well over the next 10 years. I'm going to overweight it. I'm going to put it a weight of 3% instead of 1% in my total portfolio. But it's still there, right? Same thing with growth and value, right? There may be times when you say, I think growth's going to do better, so I'm going to do 60% growth, 40% value. There may be times where you think value is going to be better, 60% value, 40% growth. But the key is that you want everything to be in there. And as investment advisors, I mean, what we often talk with people about is sometimes it's not even so much what you believe in or what you think is going to do well, but rather what's most appropriate for your age, for your risk tolerance. In other words, when you're young, like me, you want
a lot of growth.
When you're older, like you, or more advanced in
More
years
experience,
and experience, more experienced people love their value stocks, because your risk is lower. You get a dividend more often. So there's different reasons why you may want to adjust those percentages other than I believe growth is going to do well in 2021 or I believe value is going to do well. But the key is always the percentages.
And the other thing is, and you've made this example before. So let's say you buy 50% value, 50% growth, right? And growth goes up 20% and value stays where it is. So now, of course, if growth goes up 20%, you're out of whack. So what do? You sell some growth, buy some value. If you keep doing that, what are you doing? You're selling high and buying low, which people will say, that's the key. Sell high, buy low. But when do you do that on a particular stock? How do you do that? How do you sell Amazon at the right time and buy what at the right time?
Exactly. It's so much harder to do with the stock than with percentages.
Exactly. And so again, the key is nothing wrong with somebody coming and whisper in your ear and say, boy, you got to buy this particular stock, right? Because it's hot. It's going to go up a lot. Go ahead, put a few bucks in there, or, bucks, I feel like a New Yorker.
couple
of $100 in there. And then let it ride, see what happens, right? That's nothing wrong with that. But as far as a long-term investor, you can't do that because you're going to be sitting around and saying, like you always say, I had the right sector. Boy, I just chose the wrong stock.
It's the difference really, and you hear it all the time, that the number one investment mistake that people make is in the translation between the idea and the execution. In other words, you think that X is going to happen, like interest rates are going to go up, or you believe that clean energy is going to take off in the next 20 years. That in 20 years in the future, we're going to have electric cars, hydrogen-powered cars, solar panels, batteries that can gather all the energy from the sun, store it, and then you're good to go on cloudy days. So let's say you believe all this is going to happen. The number one investment mistake people make is how to be right on the idea, yet fail in the execution of it. So you have the right idea, but you incorrectly choose the stocks to be able to make money off an idea. And I think there was a great, on Real Vision TV, there's a great research group, and it's always their number one. I can't tell you how many times I've heard it on the interviews there. And they're always doing long-form interviews with people who have been in the markets for a long time, private equity investors, people who have been very successful. And they always say the same thing. I can't tell you how many times I was right on what I thought was going to happen, but I couldn't figure out a way to make money off it.
And that happens.
It's difficult. It's difficult to make that translation. But the thing you don't want to do is be right on the idea, pick one stock, and then say, goodness me, I was right on the idea, but it was the wrong stock.
That's right.
I mean, if you had predicted, and you could have sit there in 2000 and said, in 20 years, people are going to go on social media and they're going to put pictures of themselves eating food, and they're going to talk with each other and comment. They're going to be watching Alex and Xavier on a live streamed show on a thing. And you said to yourself, this is going to happen in 20 years. And then you said to yourself, and it's going to be MySpace. And
That's right.
Because you now be kicking yourself saying, goodness me, I was right on the idea, but I was wrong on the execution.
That's right.
So the way you get around that, of course, is now that you have the opportunity with diversification in ETFs is to say, well, I'll just buy all of them. I'll buy an ETF in the clean energy space that has 30 stocks. They're all in clean energy. And it could be that one or two of them is the winner and the other 28 are losers. But when your winner is Amazon and it goes up 120,000%, do you care that the other 14 were losers? Not really.
They're not losers. They just didn't go up as far.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're willing to, part of the goal is, do you really need to find the Amazon and make 120,000% on it? Or is the goal to be making decent, like to be successful in the sense of, oh, my ETF only went up 100%. That's a good return.
And as I mentioned, the ability today versus 20 years ago. I mean, 20 years ago, like I said, yeah, you had mutual funds, but even then you didn't have as specialized mutual funds or ETFs as you have today. Back then, you had more active management, means that you had to trust that the manager was making the right decisions. But today, again, you have an idea. You have an ETF that's called JETS. You have an ETF that focuses on retail. You have an ETF that focuses only on biotechnology companies. You have an ETF that basically tracks stocks, clean energy, robots. I mean, it's just hundreds of them. So if there's an idea out there that you have, right, and you know very little about stocks, it's perfect. You say, that's what I want to buy. I want to buy that particular sector of the market because I believe it. Again, I would diversify. I wouldn't just buy that. But it gives you the opportunity to say, that's an area that I really like, I really believe in, and therefore I'm going to focus in.
When you take a risk like that, does any time you invest in the stock market, you're taking a risk, right? Anytime you say, I believe in this idea, and you go for it, you're taking a risk,
Sure.
right? But the key is you only want to take the risks, you only want to absorb the risk that you actually want to take. So in other words, if you're investing in clean energy, the only risk you really want to be susceptible to is clean energy. In other words, does clean energy work or does it not work, right? You don't want to add on to that and say, well, now if you buy an individual company, you have two risks now.
That's right.
You have the risk that clean energy doesn't work, but you also have the risk that clean energy works, but that company is not the right one.
That's right.
Or something happens with that company. The CEO turns out to be a poor CEO. The product that they have is the one that doesn't work. You've added individual stock risks to your systematic, your risk of
Your
the
sector
idea,
risk, exactly.
your sector
Yeah.
risk, right? And so when you diversify, you're reducing that individual risk. You're reducing the chance that that you're affected by the stock being wrong. And so the only thing left is the risk you actually want to be exposed to, which is, was my idea correct or not?
Yes. And you've also talked about this before, and the idea is, we always, when you're in the stock market, especially if you're brand new to the stock market and you like to choose stocks, you keep looking at it. And when things just don't go the right way, I mean, the volatility in the stock market over the last few weeks, granted, last few years, I should say, but certainly the last few weeks has been enormous. I mean, one day things are going through the roof, and the next day they're dropping like a rock. And specifically, as you mentioned, the tech stocks, right? I mean, they had a meteoric rise last year of over 100%, 200% for some stocks, and some stocks were up like 300, 400%. So, I mean, there was I think a wind stock that went from 20 to 90. That's an enormous rise, right? So, of course, if it's back down to 50, you go, oh, my Lord, it went from 90 to 50. Yeah, but it went from 20 to 50. I mean, that's still over 100% return. That's amazing, right? So you have to think about that. And so the important thing is you can't get overwhelmed by what's going on. And certainly when was the last time we had a pandemic where the governments of the world shut down their economies, right? And now a year later, we're still sitting here saying, okay, the vaccines are rolling out, people are getting their vaccines, some people already got, coronavirus, so therefore, hopefully they're immune to this, right? And we're still sitting around saying, when do we reopen the economies? I mean, it's the only, exactly, it's unprecedented. And so the only thing that we can go on is if the economy opens up.
Then what does it look like?
And you were talking to Jerry about this, and Jerry said, people want to go out and spend money. I don't think it's that people want to go out and spend money. People want to go out and live a life. They want to live, and sometimes living means, yes, going out, going to a restaurant, going to a show, going to a UVA baseball game. I mean, that doesn't cost a lot of money, but it's a good time, right? And again, why can't we go to a baseball game? I don't understand. I don't want to go there, but it's not that I want to go to the game. I mean, I don't want to go to the specific topic, but, why not? I mean, so once that opens up, we then have to say, is it opening up and do people feel comfortable? I mean, in movie theaters, people going to feel comfortable sitting next to somebody? I don't know. I mean, the world's changed in such a way that it's still enormous amount of fear. How that fear translates into what the economy does, we don't know. So, again, there's a lot of unknowns out there. So the important thing is, we always say it, you got to be in it to win it in the lotto game. Well, you got to be in it to participate, right? Yep. So you got to be in the market to participate. You're going to take your bumps, you're going to take your bruises, but the statistics that I showed you or I talked about last week, which is from 1928 till the end of 2019, the stock markets are up 11%. You don't want to miss on that, right?
Absolutely.
You don't want to miss on the situation where you think you're the guy that knows how to time the market, and you may be the guy, but 99.9% of us are not. And that includes me. You can't. That's an impossible task.
Timing is hard. You just you have to have the idea, go for it, execute it, believe in it, and then see what happens. Put yourself in a position to be successful.
Exactly.
And that's the
exactly.
goal. It's the goal in investing. It's the goal, I think, in life itself, the goal
Yeah.
in business. Put yourself in the best position.
Dream big,
Dream
as,
big.
as Miguel said. Let's make
Dream
that dream
big.
as big as possible, right? And go for it.
Absolutely,
And go
absolutely.
for it. And we have a dreamer.
We have a big dreamer here today that's going to join us, and he is Jonathan Hernandez Toscano, and he is the owner of JTH Paintings and Remodeling, and he's joining us here today on the I Love Sivo show. So Jonathan, we've known him. He is the brother of Cristel Noel, and so we've known him for some years now. All the amazing businesses that he's been involved in, and just the great work that he does. So he's going to be joining us shortly here. And Jonathan, it's been a pleasure. It's so good to have you on.
Thank you so much. It's been a while, guys.
Hello, Jonathan. How you doing?
Doing well.
Nice to see you.
How guys doing?
Family good? Kids are good?
So far, so good.
Keeping you busy, I hope?
Ina is on her way, so
Okay.
she's busy on a meeting,
Oh,
an expecting
fantastic.
meeting, but she's gonna be here soon.
Okay,
Absolutely,
good,
yes.
good.
So we have a husband and wife duo team
I know, right?
here working
One's the worker,
together.
one's the brains. Is that how it works?
Excuse me?
One's the worker or one's the brains of the
Yeah.
operation? Is that what?
You would
At
know
home, I
something
know.
about
I mean,
that.
that's the way it works. At home, there's the
Talking
brains
from
of the operation.
experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
But goodness, so Jonathan, for those who don't know you and all the different things you've been involved with, tell us a little bit about JTH Paintings and Remodeling. How did you guys start?
Well, it was like 10 years ago. It's been a while.
Wow.
Since,
That's good.
When I came here, I didn't know what to do, how to do anything. To sell something here, to start business, you have to get license, you have to get,
Right,
papers, insurance, everything. It's not like in Mexico, In Mexico, you can open a business.
Anytime, anywhere, as quickly as
You
possible.
get some money on the ground, on the table, and, okay.
In New York, that works
That's
too.
New York,
That
that's
still
right.
works.
But here, you have to follow the rule. You have to be there. You have to do a lot of stuff. So thanks to Ina, thanks to my sister. You guys know my sister.
Right.
Yep.
My brother, my family. Thanks to them. So I've been trying to follow all the rules. I get my license. I went to study. I so thankful to meet one of the bigger developers, which is named Robert Pineo.
Okay.
He's an immigrant, Chileno.
Oh, Chileno.
So
Okay.
he's one of the guys from here, from Charlottesville, who've been helping me a lot with every single thing, with my papers, insurance, how to get there, how to build my company. When I start just with myself and one guy.
Wow.
I didn't know sometimes. I didn't have enough money to pay him. It was really hard for me because I didn't know what to do in this country.
Right,
I
right.
came from Mexico. I had a fortune to have everything there in Mexico. My parents, they were in a good position. And when I came here, it was really hard for me because I didn't have anything. I didn't know what to do, how to do, where to work, nothing. But at the end, I met Ina. Ina's such a great person. She's been helping me with my business. As you know, she went to McIntyre.
Yeah, so she's
Ah,
got the
okay.
business
So-
experience of what.
So she
what to
helped
do.
me a lot with numbers, with every single thing. But I'm so grateful to be here. Right now, we have more than 25 employees.
That's beautiful.
Wow,
So-
fantastic.
So we are in Washington, we're in Fredericksburg. By July, we will go to Miami.
Miami.
So-
Miami.
Oh, when you guys go down there to Miami.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. We'll come with you.
Yeah,
when
right?
you go visit Miami, we'll take
Especially
that
during
one.
the winter.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I short
That's amazing. But that's a beautiful story because, I remember, I think it was 5 years ago with Forward Adelante, we did the article on just how many people are employed by Latino businesses
Right.
in Central Virginia, which a lot of people didn't know about at the time.
Right.
And you're just one of those examples because, if someone hadn't heard of JTH paintings and remodelings, they'd probably be stunned to realize you employ 25 people
Yeah.
throughout the state. And that's
That's
incredible
amazing.
that
That
you've
is-
reached
that is
that
amazing.
level
Yeah.
of success.
So I'm I'm so thankful that I met the right people in the right time. Last year, as you know, for the pandemic, it was really bad. For me, it was the best year so far because when I met this developer, he told me, okay, you gotta meet me here in Washington. It's gonna be your first interview. So I was so nervous to meet this guy because if you Google his name, it's
a big company.
Yeah. I was like, okay. So I shake his hand. He told me, welcome. So here I am
Beautiful.
with all these people. So we're trying to hire all the time more and more and more people in different states, in New York, Miami. We're trying to get different crews in different
Right, exactly.
states, so that way we can expand our business. But yeah.
Awesome. Did you have to change anything, like the way you do some business last year, given that it was pandemic? Like, does it change the painting and the remodeling? I guess remodeling, sometimes you have to go into like houses and stuff. So did you have to?
We don't do residential anymore, so we do pretty much commercial things.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I met this guy. So it's like huge properties, for government right now. We're working for the government in Washington for different things like that. We are not just like residential. We're not doing anymore.
Interesting. So
Small
how's
things.
that? What's the difference? How is it like doing
Big
commercial?
difference. So to get all these things, to get around all these people, being involved, with the architects, engineers, it's crazy. But I'm so glad.
So business last year was up, right?
Yeah.
And do you think that had anything to do with the fact that, so many things had been shut down that people decided this is a great time to then, remodel the offices or commercial spaces before get people come back?
Yeah, but a lot of people, they just bought a lot of properties like hospitals, small properties like the malls and all these things, because it was really cheap, the price. So they're redoing everything. So now that's why I guess the economy was really good for them and for us. The business is great. It's amazing.
No, because we were talking about that, how, the building industry, right, has just been booming for the last 12 months, right? And granted,
Yeah, for me, the last year, it was the greatest year for me.
Yeah.
So from 5 guys to 20, 30
to 25. That's
guys.
like 5 times, bro.
So it was crazy.
And so you need to. So do you have then a group of people that are in Washington D.C. and New York, and so you need? It's not like they live here and then you have to send them there.
I just trying to go there, in different cities and meet the right guys, Sometimes I gotta go to the Latin store, with my. Say, I'm hiring people, so if you think you're a leader, just please call me or whatever.
Wow, so do you go there and like sign them up there, or do you just like pass out like
that,
Wow.
My sister and I, we always trying to be like everywhere.
The go-getters.
So it's the same thing in Miami. So I met the right guys. So we're gonna start by July, September. We're just trying to figure it out in and night, because my family is here.
Right.
And I'm around, so my day start like 4 in the morning until 10 every single day. I have to drive every day. So from here, I gotta go to Richmond, Fredericksburg to Washington, and then again.
That's a lot. So are you at each of these places? Are you trying to like supervise what goes on?
We do have people.
So do you plan to move to Miami, or just going to have to go there to kind of start the business going?
Different stuff. So I love Charlottesville to stay here. To be honest, with my family, is the best town to grow.
It is a great
family
place.
for my kids.
No, it is. It's a wonderful
all
town.
these things. So, and my kids love Charlottesville. I don't think so. They will.
And where else are you going to find today, mañana? You
Right?
can't find that in Miami. Miami.
In Miami.
Who speaks Spanish in Miami? I don't know.
In Miami, there's probably too many Cubans, right? We don't want to do it.
Yeah, in Miami.
Here, there's only 2 you'd have to worry about.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how we start. So Ina helped me a lot with all these things. My sister with insurance.
Right.
Now we're trying to do with every single guy been working for a while for us, trying to help them to get the license, to show them how to get the license, how to get the insurance, how to do things like that, because I was in this situation before.
Sure, no,
and nobody
exactly,
helped me
exactly.
to do these things. So now we're trying
Exactly.
to do subcontractor with them.
That's
instead of-
awesome, like giving back, helping them grow.
So
'cause
instead
as
of
they,
giving, payroll every week, so I tell them, okay, you gotta get your license, you gotta get your insurance, so you gotta get all these papers instead of paying like by hour. So we will give you a subcontractor. So that's how we're trying to help all the people that been helping me too.
Sure. No, that's amazing.
amazing.
I mean, we talk about that all the time, that in order to start a business sometimes here in the United States, there are so many regulations that it isn't easy, right? Especially for an immigrant that doesn't speak the language, because I mean, let's face it, it's not like it's one little piece of paper said, what's your name and what's your address, thank you very much, right? I mean, it's like 10 pages of forms, and it's like, what is this? What are they
there's people
asking
that
for?
lived here their whole lives, and
Forget it, the
they
people
look at
live
that
here-
page paper and
that's
said,
right.
I don't understand what language it's speaking.
Exactly. So the important thing, I mean, the thing is, you have all that to do, and to find people that can help you, that were able to help you to navigate that in order for you to get going on your business. That's good.
Right.
And then to you to be able to help.
Yeah, credit to you to be able to
people.
help them now.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
trying
it's been-
to do the
yeah.
same. I mean, you remember Ina, she used to work as a server. And while she was working as a server, she was studying at the same time.
That's amazing.
And we had one kid by that time. I was working as a bouncer, And then I'm trying to study because I didn't want to stay there. And Ina was like pushing herself to study and finish
Right,
college.
right.
So right now, after 10 years, I saw her, she's working for an amazing company. She does financial too, and she helped me with my business
That's
too.
awesome.
So now we are here. I saw my sister after 10 years.
How many years?
She became a successful girl.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the family. It's the DNA in the family.
Yeah, you guys, you definitely have it. Just to be able to work hard and then also put in that work on the side, because sometimes that's what you have to do, right? You have to do the job that you're in to pay for your family, just provide for your family. But then when you have that dream of another business, you have to add that on top, like doing the work and then having to go study in addition to that, just putting in the extra work so that you can one day be successful as your own business person, as your own company.
Yeah, I feel super proud of my family right now. After
No, you
several
should,
years,
you should.
So I saw
should.
Ina working really hard.
And you have 2 kids?
2 kids.
2 children. And what are their ages now?
11 and 2.
11 and 2. Wow.
Yeah, it's a
the,
bit
the
different.
terrible 2. So that's
Wow.
that's not easy either.
Yeah, while she was studying, we had Mia. You guys know Mia, my daughter.
Right.
And it was really hard because to be a father, a mother, plus studying, plus working, and
Yeah, that's not easy.
it was really hard.
Yeah.
Plus, this is not my language.
I was going to say, and you're studying in English,
In
which is not is your second language and your first language.
Yeah, well, she speaks
What?
5 languages.
How many languages does she speak?
5.
5 languages.
Wow.
Yeah. My kids, they are trilingual too.
Right.
So that's the
So
best
it's
thing.
the English, Spanish, Russian.
Russian, yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I love to do, Every summer, one summer in Russia, and then the other summer in Mexico. So that way we keep the language.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
And they
That's
won't
way to
have
do
the
it.
accent like me. But yeah, that's what we're doing with them. So for
Well,
me,
The accent's not as bad as it
Accent is
used to
good
be. Like
sometimes.
lately, like I know when you were growing up, probably you were like,
Well,
the
I came here
accent
too young. I,
wasn't-
did- you know,
No, I'm saying like when you were growing up, the accent probably was not great to have,
no, probably not.
right? But
Yeah,
nowadays,
yeah.
sometimes like when people find out that like that you're like Latino, it's like, oh, you're Latino, that's great. I'm like, if I had an accent, you would have known this 10 minutes ago when I first.
That's so true.
so
That's so true.
one of the guys that I really admire is a Cuban guy.
Of course.
It's I don't know if you ever heard about Jorge Perez, George
Jorge
Perez,
Perez,
one of
no.
the bigger developers, and I'm really trying to work, not with him, but with his branch or whatever. So in
Where,
Miami,
in Miami, you mean?
yeah, he. If you read his book, he started from nothing, from zero. Now he's building Mexico towers in Japan, in different states.
Wow,
Miami, it's crazy. So
No, it's amazing. I mean, not to
You lean a little. Yeah, there you
not
go,
to
yeah.
tout
Sure, we want to make sure we hear you into the mic.
Oh, okay.
not
Yeah,
to
there we
tout the Cuban horn, but what the Cuban culture did in Florida and particularly Miami. I mean, those people that came over, the success stories of the Cubans, it's just amazing. It really is. I mean, the number
is
of
like-
companies. It's a good story.
I read his book. He came like 40 years ago with $1 in his pocket.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He owns pretty much Miami.
Yeah. And
So,
But I mean, it's a similar. I think the immigrant story. That's the beautiful thing, right? It really is like success from what you would perceive as nothing from a monetary standpoint. I mean, when when your parents came here, what'd you have? They had like 10 cents.
yeah. Well, 25 cents.
25 cents to their name.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
a lot.
it's perceived as like coming from nothing, but it shows you how much was inside. Like
Right.
how much hard work, how much passion, how much drive was inside that we looked at it and say like they did this from nothing, but in reality there was a lot inside of them that made them able. There was a lot inside of you, like in your family, in your history, that led you to have the drive, you and Ina, to do this
Right.
and be successful. It's just it looked like nothing because there was no money. It looks like 25 cents, but it's really a lot of passion and hard work in there.
It's like there's no fear of failure. I mean, failure is just not a vocabulary word
Right.
for entrepreneurs.
no
because-
fear.
Yeah.
I mean, and doesn't matter, You're going to fail, so you got to do all over again. So it happened to me many times, I used to do, I used to throw parties every month before the pandemic. I used to do a lot of stuff. I never stayed with one small thing, so I always trying to looking for different things to do. So thanks God, construction, it was really good. I met the right people. I get my papers right, everything. So now we are like everywhere. And I have, my family. Again, without them, I wouldn't even been here with my sister, my wife, my kids, my parents. So
Family, it is very important. Family. I think, and Miguel was sort of talking about this with
That's
us
right.
last week. The
That's
importance of like having people around you that are positive and not negative, like people that support you and they're like, you can do this, that help you do it, instead of saying, oh no, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You're not going to be, because failure, like you can't be fearing failure or go into it thinking you're going to fail. You have to have people around you, like the family, that
Right.
support you and help you succeed.
yeah, as always, I said, most important thing in life is family.
Sure.
Without
Exactly.
them,
That's
can
what
be a
keeps you
millionaire.
going sometimes, right? Is the fact that you have a family
Right.
and you want to support them, right? So you have that drive. I mean, it's like especially once you have kids, right? I mean, granted, once you have a wife, that starts, but then once you have kids, you have to make sure that you provide for them.
Yeah.
And so then the drive is there that you say, if I'm going to do this on my own, right? And not everybody wants that, but if you want to do this on your own, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to create your own business, you're working from 4 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night.
yeah.
I mean, you could be doing this 9 to 5, but you don't have your own business.
Right.
But when you have your own business and you want to make it big, those are the sacrifices.
Yeah,
right?
dream big.
But at the same time, dream big, exactly. But at the same time, that family, that core is so important.
Yeah. So that's another thing. You have to sacrifice sometimes, time with your
course.
family or that.
Of course.
But at the end, I see my kids, It's a lot of, they are so lucky to travel to Europe. Right now they are going, I guess, in 2 weeks to Mexico, the whole
beautiful.
family. So they are here, they are everywhere. So they are super lucky. But I have to work really hard to provide everything.
Sure.
So
And that's good. That is good. I mean, the idea that you can take your children to different places in the world, that's the best education,
It's a huge
I guess it's the best thing, to have more like open mind, to have different
Sure.
ideas about USA and
Yep.
Europe, Mexico. They see different cultures, so that way they have different ideas. So
Now, do you speak Russian too now?
no,
No, not even one word. You can't say one word to us in Russian. Like say,
Привет, как дела?
there you are. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for saying that.
Right.
Now, what did you say though? So translate that into Spanish. There you are.
Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, perfecto. Sí.
Okay, perfecto. Ahora entiendo.
So, yes, and she's gonna be here soon. So hopefully she's gonna be here.
Oh, no worries.
You know.
If not, we will have you
Yeah,
both
we'll just-
on.
yeah,
we'll just have you both on again.
No, we'll just have her on. I mean,
We'll
he's
just have
already
her
been
on.
here.
It's true. We'll say,
I know.
Ina, can you come?
We gotta get
already
her
got
sometime.
Jonathan out of the way.
I know,
We'll give
right?
you some time. Before we close out, so and I think we've touched on some important things like dreaming big and really the hard work. Any other advice that you'd have for like Latinos that they want to be entrepreneurs, they want to own their own business?
Dream big,
Dream
and
big,
you know, don't stop. Just keep working hard, and you will get your dreams come true.
And
No matter what.
let me ask just one quick
go
question.
for
I
it.
mean, because believe it or not, there's we've been trying to help out people here in Charlottesville that are struggling. Some people have called us; they can't pay their rent, etc. Are you at this point open for hiring more people?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so
Always.
So I might. I mean,
do some
I
connections.
might give them your information, and you can interview them if you wish. And because there are, you know, it only came to mind because this particular person and their husband is a painter. And he's been out of work.
Yeah,
So
always.
if you're still looking, you know,
Yeah,
who knows?
we
But I mean,
always
that's
trying to
good.
get more, and especially in
fantastic.
summer. You know, summer is getting crazy right now, so it's
busy
gonna be
time.
really good for us.
Do you foresee things getting like?
And we provide, you know, we provide trucks for them, so we provide everything. So
Okay, super. That's fantastic.
if they
That's
have
awesome.
to stay in Washington, so I have to pay for hotel, you know,
Sure.
everything, and extra money, obviously.
Obviously,
But,
fantastic.
yeah.
And you were dating the love. We've got Johnny Ornella says hi. Hola, Jonathan H. Lozano. We have Jen Finasso from Sal's. Congratulations,
We-
Jonathan.
we-
Best
we
of
love
luck to you
her.
guys. You know, they are fantastic. You know, so is that how you met Ina? Or
Yeah,
at
she
Sal's
used to
Cafe
work at
Italia?
Sal, so that's why, you know, they are Italians too, so
That's right. That's right.
we love this family. It wasn't for them too, so they always keep pushing us, you know.
I love Italians
right.
too.
Yeah. You better say that you're married to one. It would be tough to not love them after. No, but they are great. They won the Chuck Lewis Passion Award.
That's right. Exactly.
Several years ago. They're a great family, great group.
We have
Yeah.
a candidate here, right? Who knows?
Oh, yeah. I think we have another
Put that on the
candidate.
list, but
We'll
don't
put you
tell
on
them.
the
Don't
list.
tell them.
Yeah.
It's a surprise.
Well,
Yeah.
There'll be a secret nominating
right.
process. But Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on. It was a real pleasure to have you.
Thank you,
here, and
guys.
we will
Muchas
will
gracias.
absolutely-
Muchísimas
Encantado
gracias
de verlo de
por
nuevo y
tenerme aquí.
saludos a Ina y la familia.
Okay.
Y claro que vamos a tener Ina otra vez
Sin
en el
duda,
programa.
sin duda.
Okay,
Without a doubt.
muchísimas gracias.
Right.
Igualmente.
Hasta luego.
Muchísimas
Adiós,
gracias.
Jonathan.
So much.
Well, see,
So
it goes to
much
show
fun.
you. So it goes to show you. I mean, we were talking about that before. How the that part of the economy, construction, remodeling, has boomed, right? And part of it is because people are staying at home, and they say we need to remodel, we need to paint, we need to change. And in his case, it's the commercial. And if everybody's staying home, I'm sure me becoming a commercial real estate saying, hey, it's time to do something where we don't have all the people here. Let's go ahead and do what we need to do to make this better. But it's nice to hear that, you know, that sector of the economy is doing well, and hopefully it continues to do well because we need it. I mean, all
Exactly,
that is are jobs that are desperately needed in this country at this
Yeah,
point.
just really the power of entrepreneurship. I mean, it's funny because we talk about it all the time, right? The value of Latino businesses, what we add to the economy. But every once in a while, like, you get to see it like in person. I mean, 25 people. That's a lot of employees.
That's a lot of people. Yeah.
You know, that's a legit business at putting in a lot of money into the marketplace, employing a lot of people across the whole state. I mean, that's not just Charlottesville. I mean, he's
Yeah.
talking
Country.
DC, the whole country. I mean, he's talking
Miami,
DC, soon to
Washington,
be
DC.
Miami.
I mean, that's
You
amazing.
know, putting
That
a
is
lot of people to work, creating jobs. I mean, that's the job creation right
Exactly.
there. Is that you
Yeah.
start your business from nothing, right? And then before you know it, now you are employing other people, and not just employing them, but now employing them and enabling them through helping them with the licenses to become subcontractors, and now hire more people.
That's
so
right.
each of those 25 people he's potentially hiring is now hiring more to follow in,
That's
in his
it.
footsteps.
Yeah. It's, you know what I really like about what we're doing is we're learning about people, right, and their drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we always said, yeah, an entrepreneur has drive, but when you listen to them
feel it,
explain,
like-
you feel it. I mean, here is 10 years ago he came here without anything. He didn't know what he said. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to do anything. So he didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden he's a successful entrepreneur, right? In the industry of remodeling and painting. I mean, it's just amazing.
I mean, it is beautiful. Like, this country doesn't very much encourage exploration. Just like in contrast, like in Cuba, where like you're told you will be a scientist, you will be this, right? Just the idea. I mean, just even your story. I mean, what did you start with? Spanish literature and computer science.
Correct.
You go to work as computer science. You looked at the guy ahead of you and using
across
the way, using your algorithms.
Well, my reports, and I'm saying.
Reports.
So I asked my boss. I said, what are these things that I'm creating? What are they doing? He said, well, they use it to manage money. I said, how much do those guys make? And they said, about 10 times what you make. I said, how do I get there?
Exactly.
It's
so,
like,
I mean,
wait a minute.
All this time later, you're doing
Absolutely.
financial planning. We're doing investment advice for individuals and for institutions, and you started off on an entirely different, because sometimes you don't know exactly what you want to do when you're younger, right? But you begin to discover your interests. You begin to discover, I can make 10 times what I'm making by doing that. You begin to discover, oh my goodness, it's worth it for me to become an entrepreneur, to leave, working for another company, to work for myself, so that I can provide better for my kids, so I can spend more time with my kids eventually. Right, and before you know it, you're on an entirely different path, but you're able to do it.
No, it's again in the dreaming part, right? Sometimes you have a dream, and that dream may not come through the first time, and you stumble and you try again. And then maybe it's not that the dream is not the right dream, right? It's just that the dream just wasn't manufactured the right way. And we all have certain passions, but sometimes. Like I said, I mean, when I got hired, my first hire was Lehman Brothers, and my parents said, well, what do they do? I said, I don't have a clue. I have no idea, but they hired me, so that was good, right? So little by little, then you learn,
Jerry's loving that story.
Yeah, what do they, so little by little, you learn about finance. And I said, wait a minute, finance, this is all mathematics, which is what I loved. So I said, let me figure this out. And that's how it works, right? And so I'm sure this story for everybody is the same thing. Again, Jonathan came here. He didn't know He didn't know how to do anything, he says. I'm sure he did, but the point in being is he wasn't sure. He didn't know which direction. But little by little, he found what he wanted to do, or he found something that he enjoyed and he's good at, and that's how it works. I mean, how often do we go to college and we study some things and it's like, it didn't pan out in life, but you do something else that's even better, or something you enjoy even more. And I think that's part of education. You have to have an education that covers everything, covers literature, covers languages, covers mathematics, science, etc., so that you can begin to think about or see what it is you like, and then pursue that career. And if that doesn't work, there's other options. Okay, right?
you start something. You can't be afraid, like you were saying, you can't be afraid of failure.
No.
Right? Because you sometimes the first business fails, but you just switch. You're able to do something else. You get back up again. You say, all right, what else am I good at? What else can I do? Or sometimes we've had stories where people just go back into the same business.
That's right.
Some of the Chuck Lewis Passion Award winners, they
persevered.
Exactly, right? They persevered. They failed I think Chef Tony Polanco, and I remember when he won, I mean, he failed 3 times.
That's right.
And then he did it one last time, and the last time it hit.
Exactly.
And he became a successful entrepreneur. So sometimes it's just you get up and you either do something else you love, or you do the same thing, but now you've learned. You've learned what to change, and you've learned how to do it better. And so now you become successful. It's
and
the
that's true. I mean,
perseverance.
listen, in the end, there's nothing like experience, right? Little by little, you learned, why is it you stumbled in the first place, and you make sure you don't stumble, right? And the world changes, and just to throw in something in there. This country is built on the small business, right?
Absolutely.
And I just hope and pray that we allow those businesses to continue and flourish, because look what happened here. I mean, he's employing 25 people. Granted, there are larger companies that employ thousands and thousands, but it's the small company, right, that has that drive, that has the flavor of making it slightly different and giving you that service that sometimes big companies don't.
Yep.
Right?
Well, plus the tier, right? Let's face it, a huge corporation that employs thousands and thousands of people. Are they doing like Jonathan and helping each and every one of them become a subcontractor, working with them to improve, what papers do you need? What help do you need? There's just no way they can do that. The small business, because he lives in the community and he knows the people he's working with.
Right.
I mean, come on, he literally goes to the stores to find people, to the Latino tiendas saying, hey, would you like word? Would you like this? He knows these people.
That's right, he
He's
does.
met them, and he's invested not just in paying them and having them do the work. He's invested in seeing them succeed.
That's right.
Even beyond just the scope of his business.
Exactly.
And that's what
Exactly.
small business does. That's the difference. I mean, how many times we interviewed the small business people here in Charlottesville, and we're just seeing how they give back, how much they care about the community, how much they're doing, not just in what they buy and sell on a daily basis, but in the whole community as a whole. And it's just in passing on the knowledge that they've gained, passing on the things that they've learned so that others can become successful. You can't replicate that
No, you can't.
with the corporation.
can't.
Small
Never,
business is
never.
what drives that. 'Cause
Yes.
it's real people in their communities that they actually have a vested interest in that. They don't live far away.
It's the American way. Let's
is.
just hope it
It is
continues.
the original, in reality, the immigrant dream is the American dream in many ways. Like
That's
it's
right.
it's the largest manifestation of it. Because you come with what's perceived to be nothing. I mean, America as a country, it starts with what's perceived to be nothing. Like these little 13 colonies on a distant land. And
Exactly.
England's like, well, it's really not much. Right? And then it turns into something great because that's the immigrant story. It looks like nothing from the outside, but there's a lot inside.
That's right.
That really powers
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. No, it's a great story. It really is. The American story is a great story, and the small business story is a fantastic story. And
Yeah.
as I
so
said,
much pride. We even had Joe Finasso from Sal's and Cristel showing some love for Jonathan. We've got Johnny Ornelas, amigo del programa. Today, Mañana drops knowledge bombs every time. Thank you, Johnny Ornelas. Thank you, Jerry. He loves the dynamic. He loves the dynamic.
well, he's a little biased, though, isn't he? Can we really take Jerry's opinion on this?
No,
Okay. No, all right.
I'm buying it. I'm buying it. You don't have to buy it. I'll buy Jerry's opinion on that.
I'm buying it too, don't worry.
No, it's so much fun to do this every week and just really get to know new people.
I'm starting to
and
look
talk.
forward to Thursday mornings,
It's-
but then the weeks fly by. It's like, holy cow,
I know,
another year went by.
Another year, another Thursday morning, man. And next week's going to be fun also. We're
That's
going to
right.
have the managers of Brazos Tacos
Brazos Tacos.
are going to be joining
That sounds
us. So
good.
that's going to be a blast. I'm sure there's going to be more market news. We'll see. There's going to be at least two of them. We'll see what other guests we can dig up for
Surprise
the show
them,
as
that's right.
we grow. We might have some surprises for you on that one. And then, of course, always we're going to be chatting about what's going on in the markets, new things to think about,
Fun
new
things,
ways
right?
to think about investing, new ways to think about the future. Right? It's always the today, what's going on, and the mañana, what's going to happen. What should we be thinking about?
Especially for small businesses, I mean, and I won't end with that, but there was an article on small businesses, which is very important because, again, they're struggling, and a lot of small businesses that thought they'd be able to retire can't anymore, right? Because they planned on their business was going to be their retirement, and that failed. So, again, it's important. The whole package of a small business is more than just, getting going,
day-to-day, yeah.
working day to day. There's a lot more that goes to it, and so I think little by little, people.
talk.
This pandemic, I think, has taught people that to think about. I also have to think a little bit about mañana, not just today.
Oh, exactly. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that next week.
We will.
Just ways to protect your business in other, through retirement planning, through thinking about tomorrow, so that in tough times you have a little something else
Absolutely.
ready.
Not
to
just
go
tough
for
times, when you're ready to.
Yeah, when you're ready to
when
retire.
you're ready to
You're
move
ready
to
to go to
Miami and
Miami.
really have that, that Cuba Libre.
The
You need,
Cuba Libre, that
you need the retirement funds.
Exactly, so that you can be ready to move down there, and you can find Xavier down there and say hello. He'll mix in with all the other Cubans. He won't stand out too much. All righty. Well, we will let you get back to Zack Snyder's Justice League tonight.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that.
We will free
I
you
am
from
looking forward
this
to that.
sacrifice that you've made because of your great love for the viewers of Today Mañana. And of course, we want to share that love with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As
That's right,
always,
for all
for
the
joining
viewers.
us. I mean, we love the guests. We love the fact that you guys watch us. That's what we do this for, so that you can share with us, share anybody you know. I mean, we are always on the hunt for more Latino or any entrepreneur that wants to come on, share their story, because that's what brings the hope. That's what brings us excitement. That's what gets us here on Thursday morning. So share this information with people. Let us know. Contact us. Alex@emergentfs.com. You can even call us. It's 434-260-1690.
You got that one right.
Don't hesitate to call us. We're happy to talk with you guys about anything and everything. And so just thank you so much for joining us once again. As always, I'm Alex. This is
I'm
Xavier.
Xavier.
We're presented by Emergent Financial Services. We're powered by Cristel Noel, State Farm Agency, and we're partnering with Forward Adelante, the I Love Seville network. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Judah, for once again being the mastermind behind this show, behind all the camera angles and everything you see, behind the fact that Xavier and I look good, behind the fact that you can hear what
And
we're
he keeps
saying.
fixing my mic because
Exactly. Otherwise, we wouldn't hear what you're saying. I mean, I don't know what we would do without Judah, because otherwise everyone would say, I know what Xavier's moving his lips, but nothing's coming out of them. But thank you, as always, for joining us. And until then, we will see you. Hasta mañana. Super fun.